What's up guys, Bionic here with another Raid Shadow Legends video. With the new Doom Tower rotation just around the corner, we are going to be getting 2 new bosses, and we finally got some information on their skills. So I want to quickly break that down for you guys so that you are better prepared. We need to start coming up with some possible teams or champions to work on so that we are ready for this new rotation. All that said, let's check it out right now. So the first champion we're going to cover is Bommal, the Dreadhorn. Looks pretty cool. We did see some images of this boss already, but this is kind of like the high-res picture of this champion. Let's break down his skills right now. He is all about bombs, and I'm talking bombs left and right, all right? So on the A1, we're going to attack all enemy and decrease the bomb detonation debuff countdown, by 1 turn. Also instantly activates any HP burn effects, and it decreases the duration of those debuffs by 1 turn, kind of like Sisia. On the A2, also an AoE, attacks all enemies, places HP burn debuff on each enemy for 3 turns. Passive effect, you take 100% more damage from HP burns on top of that. As for the A3, you remove all buffs from all enemies and then you attack them again. Okay, so 3 AoEs, you place a bomb debuff on each enemy that detonates after 2 turns, and you place an additional 1 bomb debuff for each buff removed by this skill. The bomb debuff cannot be blocked or removed. Then we have here Dread minions on the A4. Place a 50% increased attack buff on Bommal the Dreadhorn for 5 turns. Then you summon 2 Dread bombs and grants an extra turn. Cannot remove the attack buff. Passive effect, you summon 1 Dread bomb every time Bommal's turn meter is decreased. Okay, so it might not be a good idea to reduce the turn meter of that champion. And finally, for the A5 on the passive here, each time an enemy places any debuff except bomb debuffs on Bommal, place bomb debuff on that enemy that detonates after 2 turns. So these bomb debuffs cannot be blocked or removed, but each time a bomb debuff detonates on an enemy has a 100% chance of placing a stun debuff. Okay, so that's still in effect. But here at the bottom it says Bommal receives 200% more damage from bomb debuffs. So he's all about placing the bombs, but he's also weak to them. So start building your bomb teams. Get that War Mother out of the vault. Get that Astranyx ready to go. Get our Grunge Killjoy Soul Drinker. Maybe that is the trick to this boss. And finally, we have the minions here as well, where on the A1, we explode at the start of each turn and deals pure damage to each enemy equal to 40% of this max HP if the Dread Bomb is not under a freeze debuff at the start of the turn. So you have to freeze them. Deals pure damage to each enemy equal to 20% of their max HP instead if they are under a freeze debuff. Damage inflicted will ignore shield buffs. The Dread Bomb is immune to all debuffs, effects, and sources of damage except its own skills and freeze and HP burn debuffs. Fills the Dread Bomb turn meter by 20%, even time it receives damage from an HP burn debuff. Okay, so very unique. You kind of have to deal with this. You want to bring freeze on top of all this, so maybe ninja to some extent here would be good, although maybe the HP burn isn't. Up next we have Astranyx the Dark Fae. Looks absolutely amazing, but what is her kit all about? Let's check it out. So she has an A1 AoE A1 with a leech on all enemies for 2 turns. All right, A2, we attack all enemies. We steal 1 random buff if there is magic champions, 1 buff for each magic champion, steal turn meter for each enemy according to the number of force, 10% turn meter for each force champion, 25% chance of placing a true fear debuff for each void champion on the enemy team, and then you heal by 10% of her max HP for each spirit champion on the enemy team. So very conditional. We will have to be cautious with what kind of team or affinity of champions we bring to this team. As for the A3, attacks all enemies. All living allies will team up and join this attack. Damage increases by 25% for each living ally. Interesting. Banishes 1 enemy champion and spawns a mirror copy of them onto Astranyx's team. Places a fear debuff on all enemies for 1 turn. Increase her dark energy counter by 1. So she's basically banishing one of your champions and taking them for her own team. Really interesting. And then we have for the A5, the passive here. Places a perfect veil buff on Astranyx the Dark Fae for 3 turns. Mirror copies of all enemies onto the team at the start of the battle. Okay, so they're going to be hard to target. Summon mirror copies of all enemies onto Astranyx's team every time her dark energy counter reaches 5. So I think you don't want her to reach the counter of 5, or else it looks like she's going to be fully powered up. Also places a perfect veil buff on Astranyx herself for 3 turns every time her dark energy counter reaches 5. Counter resets after it reaches 5 every time. Really interesting concept here, very situational. Again, I'm really eager to see what we're going to come up with for this, but I assume the more champions she has, maybe bringing like HP burn here would be a good idea. So again, we will have to see what you guys are going to come up with. I'm not going to stretch this out anymore. There you have it. Overall, the new skills of these champions. It will be available on my Discord server if you guys want to download the document itself. So thank you so much for watching today, and as always, I will catch you in the next video.